If you're a business owner or entrepreneur spending hours a week guessing what your next YouTube video should be about, I've got some great news for you. Today, I'm showing you the anti-gravity method to solve this problem. By the end of this video, you'll have your own custom-built app that finds outliers in your niche so that you never have to guess again. So what the hell is an outlier on YouTube anyway, and why do we want to find them? Think about it like this. It's kind of normal to expect that a giant 10 million sub channel might get 1 million views on a video, but it's much more interesting to us when a channel with 1,000 subs gets 100,000 views, especially when the average is just around 500 views. That right there is an outlier. If we can easily find these outliers in a specific niche, maybe our own, or maybe in a related or even an unrelated niche, then we can take a look at them to see what it was about them that worked so well. Was it the thumbnail and title that got people's attention? Was it the hook that really set up the audience to really want to know more? Was it the content angle or topic in the video? So by learning from these insights, we can improve our own content and channel and grow our audience more effectively. This is actually something I've been wanting to do as I've been mostly focused on my work and growing my business, but I also want to build my YouTube channel into something meaningful too. So I've got to put in the reps. All right, so we've hopped into Antigravity now. So my initial plan is to build a simple app quickly that I can specify a niche to, and it goes and gets a bunch of real-time data from YouTube, find the channels in that niche that have had some recent outliers based around my chosen topic. I think it will need to use the YouTube API to do this, which we can use for free for a limited amount of data that we're needing. Okay, so I've told Antigravity that I'm wanting it to build the following. I want to create an app that runs locally on my machine, which uses the YouTube API, safely storing my YouTube API key somewhere. When I enter a niche topic into a search box, I want the app to talk to the API to get whatever data it needs to find recent outliers about that topic, say from the last 3 months by default. I'd like a way to select a different time period too if I want. I only want it to return English language videos. I'm not interested in YouTube Shorts. I want it to then return a table of these outliers to me with the link to the video title, video thumbnail, number of views, percentage greater than their average number of views per video over that recent time period, number of subscribers, and the age of their channel. Can you also please tell me what I need to do to get my own YouTube API key? If you're not already familiar with Antigravity, we've got a particular model here selected. So I've got Gemini 3 Flash selected. We can choose from a whole range of different things. I am just using a free Google account, so in theory, we'll have enough credits to build this application. And another thing to note is that I do have this in planning mode. So you can see that here. That basically just means that it'll come up with an implementation plan for this application that we're asking it to build and just ask us for any feedback or to proceed. So let's give this a go. Now, because we've got Antigravity running in a review-driven mode, which basically means it's a very kind of secure way of doing things, but quite slow. It's basically going to ask us before it installs anything, before it runs any commands and so on, to approve each time. This is not the fastest way to do things, but it's just kind of a way that often people will start out using Antigravity just to, while they get familiar and comfortable with the fact that this agent is doing a bunch of stuff on their machine. Later on, if you're wanting to get more adventurous, you can always activate the agent-driven mode, which essentially is just going to go off and do its thing when you ask it to build something and not ask you every 5 seconds for different approvals. You can see here as well, it's created a little task list to plan out what it's going to do. Some project setup, the back end and API logic, the front end UI creation, and also some verification. I'll just go ahead and authorize it to do these different things and we'll come back to what it's created. Okay, so now it's just come back with review requested. It's come up with the implementation plan. So it's just kind of going over everything that we've asked it for, just making sure that we're both on the same page and this is its plan on what it's going to do. So it's saying the goal is to create a local web application that identifies outlier videos for a specific niche. An outlier is defined as a video with significantly higher views than the channel's average for a specific time period. It does note here, it's drawing this to our attention, YouTube API key required. You will need to obtain a YouTube Data API v3 key from the Google Cloud Console. I've provided instructions below on how to do this. Daily quota, the free tier of the YouTube API is a daily limit of 10,000 units. Outlier calculation requires multiple requests per channel, which can consume this quota if searching for many videos at once. I will optimize this by limiting the number of videos processed per search. So we've got here the instruction on how to get our API key, and then it's got some proposed changes about how it's going to basically go about building out this application. I'm really not too concerned about all of the technical ins and outs as long as it is functional for us. While it's building the application for us, I'll go and sort out the API that I need for YouTube data. So I've got that ahead of time. Alrighty, it's now finished its build. So it's brought up a walkthrough of what it's done. The YouTube Outliers app is now complete and ready for use. This locally running application allows you to find high-performing videos in any niche by identifying outliers, videos that have significantly more views than their channel's recent average. It's telling us like what it's used to build it, how it's getting the data, and so on. So then we've got the how to run instructions. open your terminal in the project directory. Then I've got to install dependencies. Then I've got to add my YouTube API key to the .env file, and then start my development server. Now, because it's an AI agent that I'm dealing with here, I can basically have it clarify any of this if I'm not sure about how some of this stuff works. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get the API key installed and go from there. Okay, so to follow this instructions about how to run, it's asking me to open up the terminal and project directory, which is just CMD in Windows if you're not already familiar. Go into the directory, which is where my project is housed. I've run the first command, which Gemini asked me to run, which was npm install, says it's all up to date. And then the second one that it wanted me to run was npm run dev. And I don't really know about any of this stuff, so it's come back with an error. I'm just going to go ahead and actually grab all of that and tell Gemini like what happened. Okay, so it says it has fixed the issue. So let's find out whether that's true. There we go, that looks better. Okay, so we've got our application. In theory, we can just now open this. Okay, so we've got a front end for the app at least. So let's find out if it actually works. Okay, well, it's looking decent. So here I've put in obviously a niche just to test this out. We've got the time period, the last 3 months. It's come back with, we've got a bunch of titles, a bunch of thumbnails, how many views it had, what sort of a percentage of an outlier it was in theory for that channel, how many subs they've got, the age of their channel, which I thought would be an interesting thing. There's a few other features that I want to add to this as well. So I want to be able to sort by all of these different things. So it's not just kind of default sorting for me. I want to be able to export this out to like a Google Sheet as well. But we're off to a good start. We've got the link to the video as well. It did seem to get one thing wrong, I noticed, like with some of these videos, it's bringing back like shorts, and I'm only interested in the long form videos and only if they're longer than like 5 minutes. So I'm going to go back to it and just have it fix that aspect up, and we'll get some more features added as well. I said you forgot to make sure that we're only looking at videos that are long form. I'm not interested in YouTube Shorts or videos under 5 minutes long. I would also like to be able to specify before searching the max sub count of the channels involved, as I'm most interested in smaller channels that outperformed. And I also want to be able to sort the table of data by clicking on any of the column headers. So we'll get it to go ahead and do those changes. Okay, so it's come back saying that it's made the changes. I've updated the implementation plan to include the new requirements, strict 5-minute minimum duration filter for all videos, max subscriber count filter to help you focus on smaller breakout channels, interactive table sorting so you can click headers to sort by views, outliers, subs, etc. That looks fine. Beautiful. I've successfully implemented the requested refinements. What's new? Strict 5-minute minimum, max sub count filter, interactive sorting. Awesome. Okay, so it's made the changes that I asked for. If we try out another topic, all right, let's try out this max sub feature. I noticed that it doesn't seem to be doing a good job of finding results for smaller channels if I'm specifying a lower subscription count. So I've just asked it. It doesn't seem to be able to find smaller channels if I specify a number, for example, a few thousand, which can't be correct. Why is this happening? Are you somehow prefetching only larger channels or something? That was just a theory. We'll see what it can do to see if it can actually improve it. Maybe it's messed up some part of the logic where it's limiting what it's able to bring back for us. Right, so previously it was basically using the view count to bring back results, but now it's going for relevance. So see if that works. This is a bit of a funny bug that I just noticed as well. It was actually returning some videos that had a negative outlier percentage, which is not what we want. So I pointed that out to it and it's gone along and fixed it. I fixed the outlier filtering. The app now strictly excludes any videos that perform below the channel's average, which is kind of the whole point. Only positive outliers, videos with more views than the average, will be shown in the results table. Okay, great. There's actually a secondary feature that I was wanting to add as well to the app, which is a YouTube homepage filled with the outliers from the other tab, which I can then add my title and thumbnail to, and it then adds my video amongst all of the others, so I can see how well my video title and thumbnail stand out amongst all the others on a desktop homepage feed, which is obviously super important. So let's go ahead and add that now. So I've just said, I'd like you to add a secondary feature to this app, which basically adds another tab, which brings over all the video titles and thumbnails from the previous results tab, populates it to a realistic YouTube homepage, and then allows me to add my own video title and thumbnail to see how they look amongst a sea of competition. Let's get that feature added. Okay, beautiful. It's added the feature that I wanted. I've also made it so that it can upload a thumbnail from my hard drive. So now not only do we have the outlier finder, which brings back a bunch of videos and data, but also we can click over to the YouTube home mockup and we can load in our own title and thumbnail. And so I can see how it is amongst a sea of other things. Now now you see the power of using Antigravity to build our own custom app to find outliers so we can grow our channel and our audience. But we also need a way to allow our audience to see what we have to offer them and help them understand why they need to take action. So watch this video next to find out how to build a high converting landing page with Antigravity in just a few minutes. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.